Here's the picture I'll be working on today. It's a photograph I took while I was going on a walk with my son. And what I wanted to do today is to show you the process I go through for the composition. And then I'm going to show a demonstration of how to paint it. Right, these are some sketches I've done in preparation for this picture. You can see that I've done 3 on the top here, and I did a sketch of a little gate. I did a sketch of this composition, but slightly different view, and I ended up choosing this one here, and hopefully I think this will be quite nice. It's really important to do these thumbnail sketches. This picture here, it feels unbalanced. I thought it was the best one at first, that's why I put number 1 actually. I actually then thought I'd do this one, but I did this one in the end, and this one seems to be, I think, the best composition. So I've come down here and I'm just looking a bit more carefully at where the basic shapes and patterns are, working out where the vanishing point is, and that will help when we come to paint it. Really important thing to do. The more you do it, the more you'll realise how important it is. If I'd gone into this picture, I've got a feeling it would have been okay, but it wouldn't have quite worked. Just the extra 10 or 15 minutes doing these extra drawings meant that I think I've come to a better decision, and I'm doing this picture. So yeah, it's really worthwhile doing. Okay, I'm just looking at the picture, and I kind of thought it needs a little bit more interest, where the perspective lines are drawing your eye in. It kind of pulls you into this light area here, which is kind of a focal point, but there's not really much there. There's a lovely tree here, some little lamp posts. It just needs something a bit more interesting. So I found this picture that I'd taken while I was there, and it's got some figures. And magically, they just happen to be in this area here for the focal point. So I'm going to draw those in to this picture here, and I'm just going to put them lightly in. I don't have to put them all. I just want to have some indication of where they're going to be. They're just coming into this shadow. I actually took this picture on a different day, and it was a duller day. The light wasn't as good, and I hadn't realised that that it had these figures in, but it's just perfect. So I'm putting these figures in here to get the scale. So they're obviously much smaller than here, and they're just coming in here. And the Labrador's going to be there. That's his arm coming out there. Can't see it too well, but that is going to make it much more interesting. In fact, when I paint it, I think I might move it a little bit over to the right, so I don't like this gap there. I want it a little bit more. So the good thing about when you draw it out, it kind of gives you ideas with the composition. Right, I'm ready to start drawing. As you can see, I've put some masking tape around some Saunders Waterford cold press paper. It's a medium surface. That will help us with all of the different textures. I've got some photocopies. I've got the main photocopy for the picture. I've got a photocopy for the figures I'm going to use, a little sketch I've done. I've done some preparatory sketches. I've also got a black and white picture which will help me to work out the values. But this is the one I'm going to use first. I've divided the photocopy into a kind of grid. So I've got my large ruler. Let me take from corner to corner. Right, I've gridded up my photocopy and gridded up my watercolour paper, and I'm going to start drawing. And it's just really looking at the picture carefully and seeing where the main shapes are. This shape here of the building, this shape, these shadow lines here, these trees. And I discussed it before, but looking at where the horizon, where the horizon line or eye level is, and where the vanishing point is. Okay, so here we go. Right, I've started drawing, and I'm using the grid, and I normally like to start with the big shapes, but for some reason I'm just looking at this shape here. I think it's because it's near the focal point. It's near the vanishing point where these lines of perspective are coming in, and I'm just looking quite carefully at this shape here that's in the corner of this square of the grid here. So I've looked at this shape here, and you can just see me draw. And I'm just going to use each grid, and at some point in time I'll work out where the vanishing point is and just check the lines of perspective. Right, I'm just near the end of the drawing. I've put the main lines in. I've put these figures here. I've actually put in two figures, Ben looking round, and then Ben walking away. And I just want to put these two figures walking the dog, and they're in the distance. And I just somehow have to make them fit in, which is a bit of a challenge. This is the path coming up here, comes up here, and the first figure is here, I think, just there. And he comes down to there. Right, great. I finished the main drawing. Before I start applying the masking fluid, I'm going to rub out the grid lines and just get everything kind of ready for painting. So just going to erase this. Right, I've got my masking fluid, I've got my mapping pen, I've got it set to a fine line, and I'm just going to come in and start working from top to bottom, putting in highlights. My first highlight are these lampposts here. Just got a fine line in. I'm just testing it on a piece of paper. Yep, that's kind of working. They're very fine, so it's hard to see sometimes. Another little fine line here.